Hey, it's Rav. Welcome back to Real Investments. Today we're talking about just the everyday investor. We just heard from my good friend Pat Zangari, my Italian buddy, who has 11 properties, 5 on the way, makes about, when the mortgages are paid off, around $30,000 per month investing in properties downtown Toronto. Now we're going to talk to my good buddy Anil Walia. I was speaking at some seminar. His son came up to me. He says, "You've got to meet my dad." We had coffee. And Anil, in just 2 years, that's right, 2 years, has over 25 single-family homes. Anil, it's great to have you on the show. I call you, with much respect, my uncle. You're from the great Punjab. You've come to this country of Canada, which is a phenomenal country, just a few years back, and you had a day job, and then all of a sudden in 2010, you decided that the world is your own. You don't have to necessarily, although you live here in Peel Region, we don't have to invest in Peel Region. We don't even have to invest in Toronto or Durham or York. We can invest in the U.S. because you told me, Rav, the U.S. is on sale, so why would I not buy properties in the U.S. of A? So talk to me a little bit about why the U.S., how you kind of got started, and how did we get to 25 properties in 2 years?
You see, I've been trying to buy properties in Toronto for quite some time, but I never found a good deal.
You never found a good deal. And what is a good deal?
A good deal is if you can buy property below market value.
Below market value.
So I could never find. One of the reason is because I came to this country in 2004. I have no connections, nobody, no my father, mother or husband, wife backing me up. I have no knowledge flowing through to me. So I have knowledge of, from the market, whatever you pick up a property, you find, it's on the market value. You go for power of sale, you don't find good deals. But I found buying property in Toronto is something like looking for a fish in the sea. Whereas you go to US, in a pond you find so many fishes. It's much easier to catch a fish in US.
So then, and that's a great point. It's true, but then isn't there then more competition to rent it out because there's so many properties undervalued? Everybody's buying properties. Then how I'm fighting now? Now I'm fighting for tenants. No,
not at all.
Okay.
In fact, the rental market is fantastic.
Is that right?
Because so many people became homeless there. You see, number of homes haven't gone up.
So where are we talking? U.S. is a big place. So where do you like to focus?
You see, that was a big dilemma in my mind. I took almost 2 to 3 years to arrive at my decision whether to invest in U.S.
Say that again. Anthony, do you hear this? You took about 2 to 3 years of research in the U.S. And that didn't mean just from the computer. You actually went there.
I attended a lot of courses, 4 or 5 courses. I invested money on me. I visited Chicago. I visited Indianapolis, Atlanta, Las Vegas.
Phoenix?
Not Phoenix.
Okay.
Detroit. Buffalo.
So you did this for 2 or 3 years?
I did this for 2 or 3 years. And one fine day I concluded that Orlando. So let me ask you this. So what was that investment amount? In that 2-3 years, how much money did Anil spend doing his research? Around, you can say, including the courses, I have undergone around $20,000.
About $20,000. Okay. So Anthony, 25 properties later, he spent $20,000. It's not really that big of an investment.
Seems like a great return on investment to me. And you talk to any major investment guru throughout the world, they'll tell you that you must invest in yourself. Usually the number they throw at you is about 25%. So sounds to me like you invested less than that in yourself on the long term. And you look at where you're at now. And we talk about this all the time, right? Education is everything. Taking courses, going out there, learning for yourself, doing those little things that matter, understanding the markets. You went to, sounds like 5, 6, 7, 8 markets before you landed on one specific market. And why? Because you took the time to understand what was going on. Where will the renters be? Where are the deals? Like you said, the U.S. is on sale. There's no question about it. It's a depressed market. But you have to understand the market. You have to understand what you're getting into. And obviously you took the time and it's paying off.
So Anil, are we still buying? Like, when was the last time you wrote an offer?
I closed 2 homes on April 9th.
This year. April 9th, just 3 weeks ago, you closed on 2 deals, 2 more deals. Okay, so keep going. So this is phenomenal. So you spent 2 or 3 years, and that brought us up to 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
You see, there were a lot of fears and doubts in my mind. Some people say, don't buy in US, it's far off. You must buy property in your backyard. Some people say that, single family homes is very risky. There is a lot of stealing. Who will cut the lawns? HOA is a problem.
What is that, HOA?
HOA is a homeowner association.
Okay.
That if the tenant doesn't cut the lawn, you get a notice. There were so many bad news coming through the media or through the newspapers. So I was really confused as to what should I do, what should I not do.
Yeah.
So in November 2011, I, along with my family, we went to Orlando. Once we concluded that Orlando is the place, we went to Orlando, and myself and my one son, we went and saw the properties. My wife and the other son, they went for Disney and all these things. So we put in about 20 offers.
20 offers?
20 offers.
Now, you had a realtor. How did you find the realtor down there?
The realtor, from here itself, we Googled, and we found 3-4 realtors.
Okay.
So we had fixed up with one day each with each realtor.
Okay.
And we knew because of training, and I myself is a licensed realtor in Orlando.
Oh, you are?
Sorry, in Toronto.
Oh, you're a licensed realtor here?
Here.
I didn't even know that.
I see.
Yeah. And you did that, and because you don't practice buying and selling.
I don't practice.
You're just a fan of knowledge.
Yeah,
Wow.
I wanted to understand the market, because when I came to Canada, I made some money in India as well in real estate. So I knew the money lies in real estate.
Yeah.
Though I'm tech in electronics and MBA, but I didn't get a job. So I applied for a license, a real estate license, because I wanted to understand the market.
Yeah.
Because I knew one day I have to control the market and buy some properties.
So do you have securities? Like, do you have RSPs or mutual funds or bonds or any of that?
No.
100% in real estate?
100% real estate.
Okay, and obviously you're not managing these properties yourself. You have property manager?
I have a property manager. And
does one take care of all 25, or do you have different property managers?
Yeah, earlier I had 2.
Yeah.
But now I have moved all those properties to one. To one.
So you only speak to one person?
I speak to one person.
You put a little gentle pressure on one person?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
And you have one realtor that you use to throw in offers?
Yeah, earlier I had 4 or 5 realtors.
Yeah.
So I pruned, and out of 25 or 20 properties I bought from one realtor.
Wow.
So now I work only with one realtor, because now we have...
Yeah, sorry. I was just about to say, I am the king of wanting to make money but not doing any work, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm really smart or if I'm really lazy. I don't even care. But to make money and do the least amount of work with the least amount of risk because of knowledge. So you're telling me, Anil, that you talk to one realtor and you speak to one property management company, and of course you probably have one lawyer, and that's kind of your business now. Now that you've done all your work up front, you go there if you want to go there. If you don't have to go there, do you now buy properties unseen?
Yeah, all 25 properties I have bought without seeing.
All your properties you bought without seeing because you understood just the system.
I understood the system, and I knew it is a location. 100%. I went to Orlando. I looked at the whole city. I identified the locations where I want to buy.
Yeah.
And so I know the property, there may be $2,000-3,000 extra work or something. But if the location is right, if the orientation, all the numbers work, then I go ahead.
So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. The first one is a little personal, but I think it's inspiring. So how much money now are you making monthly from these 20-plus properties? If you didn't have a mortgage, how much would you be making monthly once this mortgage is paid off? With mortgage, because that's easier number.
I'm making around $13,000 to $14,000.
$13,000 to $14,000
net cash.
Net now.
No.
Now.
No.
So you're making about $150,000 a year
160.
now net.
160.
If you didn't have 160, if you didn't have a mortgage.
Yeah, it'll be more.
Yeah, of course. It'd be a lot more. That's phenomenal.
And the one thing that everybody should understand, whether it be you're investing here or in the States, that mortgage interest is, you write it off against your income. So because it's a business, you're running this business. In the States, I know your personal your personal interest on your personal home gets written off as well. But for investment properties, whether it be in Canada or the States, you write that off against the income. So there is that net benefit as well.
Yeah.
You see, one interesting phenomenon is yesterday I met my accountant, and he told me my net income would be 0 in Canada, because most of it will be under capital cost allowance. It will be depreciated and some expenses.
Wow.
So that's another great
benefit. Yes.
Yeah,
so here's what I wanted to ask you. The second part of that question was, where are you getting the money to do this? Are you refinancing from these existing properties? So you kind of buy what I call an ugly property. You put some lipstick on it. Somebody moves in there. And then are you pulling money out of that? I mean, where are you getting the money to buy the fourth, the fifth, the sixth?
Yeah, I have identified a financial institution who are willing to give me 50 to 60%
loan to value?
Loan to value ratio.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So they'll give you can pull out 60 to 70% of the value of the home.
Yeah, initially they gave me 50, now they have moved on to 60%.
So, here in Canada, which I love Canada, and I love the way the banks do what they do. It's why we have such a great country. But the more properties you have, the less they give you. They're kind of like, whoa, this is getting a little too much. You've got to be creative. You're saying in the States, the more properties you have, the more money they give you because you're proven? Is that kind of how it works, or?
No, I think it is the individual's case. Like in my case, the bank was so happy because I spent so much money on each house, and I, put new appliances, paint inside, outside.
Yeah.
So the bank was very happy. Bank told me that we are only giving you, this is our last loan. On April 9th, they told me this is our last loan. I mean, when they sanctioned the loan.
Yeah.
But when I closed April 9th loan, the loan officer gave me a ring and says, we have taken up your case, especially with the president, and we are going to give you one more loan.
Nice.
So on their own, they, without applying, they kind of sanction me loan, which I have just applied for the next set of properties.
So your title, even on TV right here, by the way, can people contact you if they want to learn?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
no problem.
That's very nice of you. Obviously, you've opened up an incorporation,
yes.
right? Walia and Sons, we have an incorporation. That's with your accountant. That's obviously the best way to structure buying in the States.
Yeah, no, it's individual. Everybody has his own pros and cons, which way they want to structure, whether they want to buy in individual name or in the corporation.
Yeah.
That, I think,
it's a personal.
Yeah,
personal preference.
Yeah, personal preference.
Okay. The other thing is, I think a lot of people watching the show right now may be thinking, wow, he's got over 25 properties in just 2-3 years. These are average properties, $500,000-$600,000 each. We're in Florida, we're in Orlando. That's not the case. I mean, our properties are, what's our smallest property? 30, 40,000? I mean, how much was the smallest one?
No, I bought one property for 52,000.
52,000?
The cheapest.
Yeah.
On September 12.
Yeah, of this year.
September
sorry,
2012.
12, okay.
2012.
Yeah.
And today it is 100,000.
Wow. So you in 2 years, you bought for 50,000 and now it's 100,000. You made 100% on your money in 2 years
on that particular property.
On that particular property.
So none of my property today is less than 100,000.
And so when you just wrote 2 offers, or you just closed on 2 homes, what was the purchase price on those 2 homes?
One was 84.
Yeah.
And the other was 120.
I mean, and at the same time, he's making $160,000 net with the mortgages.
Absolutely incredible.
$160,000 net with mortgage, and his properties are around the $100,000 mark.
It's amazing what education will do for you.
You see, it is it's very interesting. The U.S. market is amazing.
Yeah.
The gold is lying on the streets. I almost made $1 million profit on this portfolio.
Oh my goodness!
Wow,
that's fantastic.
The portfolio is almost $1 million in just 2 years.
Profit, yeah.
And how much was your starting capital? How much was your starting? We spent $20,000 on ourselves doing some research.
Yeah.
Then how much was your starting capital to get in? And then the bank started letting you refinance up to 70%.
You see what happened? I was working. I was doing a job as system engineer in Peterborough.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I used to tell people, I have so much money in my line of credit, this and that. So I had about $440,000 line of credit in the house.
Line of credit.
Line of credit.
On your house, your principal residence.
The equity.
So you have a house here. It was paid for.
It was paid
and in Toronto, in the GTA, in Peel region.
Yeah.
So I want you to hear that, my beloved viewers. Anil had a house that was paid for in Peel region, and then he took a home equity line of credit against it. So he didn't use any of your own savings, if you will. No. In fact, you probably didn't have much savings.
Yeah.
You just had what you had in your house.
Yeah.
So you took that $400,000 and that's how you got started.
Yeah. Whatever money I used to earn, we used to pay off the mortgage. So suddenly I realized that I have so much money, and I got a layoff in 2009. So when I got a layoff, I didn't know what to do. I got into private mortgages. And so I started lending 30,000, 40,000 from this equity at 12%, 13%. So this is what I did for 3 years.
So before you got laid off, though, I think it's very important. I mean, you have an MBA, you're so educated, but you kind of had a day job in Peterborough making what?
About 80,000, 80, 85.
You had a job in Peterborough.
I used to go Monday morning, come back Friday evening. It was very painful staying in the hotel there.
Yeah, your wife and kids are here.
Yeah.
You sacrificed. You went to Peterborough making $80,000 a year, $85,000 a year. You got laid off. Thank the good Lord. And you said, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
You took some money, you started getting into private mortgages, and then from there you started doing your research. And so for the last 3-4 years, you've built up a portfolio of over $1 million. You're making $160,000 a year net with mortgages included.
With mortgages included.
I think that's phenomenal. And you know what's also interesting to me is that they're all single family. They're all individual homes. I would think, in my ignorance, because it's obviously working for you, why would you do that? Why wouldn't we go buy a 12-plex or a 20-plex? Why would we have individual homes? What was your thought process there? Or is that something you may revisit down the road?
No, again, as per the education, whatever training I underwent, the lesson was buy 3 bedroom, 2 washroom home, single family home, from 1,000 to 2,000 square feet. These are the,
So you had it right down to what has the most demand for tenants.
Most demand.
3 bedroom, 2 washroom, standalone homes from about 1,000 to what?
2,000.
From 1,000 to 2,000. If we buy this, then there's always going to be a demand for people to want to live in those.
As demand for tenant as well as buying and selling is much easier for those homes.
Wow. Much easier. So that answers my question. Why didn't you go buy a 4-plex? Because how are you going to sell it? How are you going to offload it? And a lot of people don't want to live in their 700, 800 square foot apartment. They'd rather have their own home, their own backyard. Even though they're renting, such as me, there still is a pride of, livingship, if you will.
That's a really interesting point that was brought up, and it's something that a lot of people don't necessarily factor in when they're talking about renting homes is, what's my exit strategy? How am I getting out of this property into the next property? And it's so vitally important. It's so refreshing to hear that you thought about that before you entered into it, to understand exactly. It's just like you said with respect to private mortgages. How are these people going to get themselves out of this? Because getting in is as important as being able to get out. And it's
Absolutely.
just vitally, vitally important.
Yeah, so let's talk a little, Anil. So what is in store? Are we going to just keep going? Like, we have 25 properties now. Are we going to have 50? Or are we going to move into the commercial world? Or are you looking at other things? Or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I have one property manager. I have one realtor. Whether I have 25 properties or I have 100 properties, there's no difference to you because it's still 1 or 2 property managers and maybe 1 or 2 realtors. Well, what is your plan?
No, you see, I'm already thinking that, you can't have 100 single-family homes because the management becomes more difficult.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a mentor to, who can guide me to go to the next level.
Yeah.
The next level I foresee is either buying the land bank, because I want
explain that. What is a land bank?
I want to concentrate only in Florida because my research says Florida Orlando, that area is a fantastic area. There's a lot of immigration there.
Yeah.
The population is growing. The unemployment has improved there. It's 5.5% from 11.9%. And the greater Orlando area, the population is around 2.3 million.
Yeah.
So I feel that once I have done the research, I know that area better, go there. So now the land, plots over there are available for $20,000, $30,000. And a lot of builders are coming in because if you see the real estate cycle, in US, the cycle is just lifted by about 10%. So there is still 90%,
there's an upside there.
The upside there.
So you could buy a plot, just a piece of land for $20,000?
Yeah.
Like how big? 50 by 100? Smaller?
Yeah, it is about 50 by 100.
50 by 100 for $20,000.
Yeah.
Wow. Anil, I can't believe 20 minutes has gone by. This has been incredible. Yourself and Pat, who was on earlier, we're going to have to bring you back when I hear about from 25 properties to however many you have or buying the land value. Just thank you so much for inspiring me.
Thank you so much.
When we sat down and we talked about what you're doing and all that kind of stuff, I said I definitely have to have you on the show. I mean, you're very smart, and what I love most is, I think in all of this, is the 2-3 years that you said that you put some money into it. You spent about 20 grand on doing the research. I mean, it's so important, Anthony. We talk about it all the time. Education.
It's number one. Education is key.
Education is key. So, we'll have you on the show again. Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching, guys. When we come back, we'll hear Anthony's closing thoughts on this whole topic of the everyday investor. Don't go anywhere.